Hey guys, how's it going? So thanks very much for tuning in to see my latest video, which is pretty much just going to cover a few little topics. One is the amount of trouble I've had over the last 2 weeks, and probably over the next week or so as well, that I've had with my van. She's been great. I've had her for 5 or 6 years now, and she's done brilliantly for me. She's a brilliant van, but she's starting to just buckle a little bit. A few issues that need to be addressed, so I had to do a little bit of work, which you will see some footage of right now. Check it out.
The pyramid can stay there is because the bottom is supporting the lies. And only through non-compliance and non-belief and non-fear can we begin to move into a higher order or a higher sequence.
Wrong way.
And make this shit legit, my friend, truly legit. I'm not gonna get into God or religion. I have a million questions about that. Very fascinated by it. It's really fun. Ranting. I believe stand in your square, rant about what you want, cuss about it, and at the same time, the only real answer, if you're looking for an answer in anything, nobody else has it. It is in silence. The answer is in complete breath and observational silence, because then you can become aligned with your core.
It's a very deep way to be starting off on Monday morning listening to Keith Telfus. If you're watching this, buddy. I'm supposed to get this done yesterday, but had a visitor to the house and I was talking too much. So it got dark because the hour went back. So we lost an hour. Daylight savings or whatever you want to call it. And had to go get what I needed today. This morning, need to get some brake cleaner. So that was some of the brake pads being done. And then the following week, an issue that arose off of the back of the brake pads was a caliper, and my handbrake stopped working. So that needed to be addressed, and that was a nightmare throughout the week. I was going without a handbrake, and I managed to eventually get it fixed up. It was a combination of a couple of things, and the biggest thing that arose from it is my caliper has stopped working on the passenger side rear. And the problem with that is for me is that was the caliper. I've only had to replace one caliper in the last 5-6 years on this van, and it was that caliper. So the problem is that I'm going to have to replace the newest caliper of them all, which is a pain, just an absolute pain in the backside. And then I started out last week like this. Check it out. So my alternator went over the weekend, and it turned out to be the brushes in the alternator. So I phoned up the local auto electrician that I normally use for any work, and I says to him, look, which isn't all that often, to be honest, like I said, the van has been pretty good to me. I phone him up and I say, look, Desi, the alternator brushes are gone, I need you to have a look. He says, how do you know the brushes are gone? Well, I wasn't going to go into a big long-winded story about how I have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to mechanics, and I've got friends in the trade as well if I ever need to find out information, etc. So anyway, he says, look, it is, etc. And he goes, right, well, he said, if that's what it is, I'll be able to do it today. It'll take me about, he says, I'll be able to fit it in at some point in the day, so if you drop it off. I said, right, grand, I'll get it off within the hour. And he goes, oh, you'd be lucky to get a mechanic to get that alternator off on a Monday morning. And I said, no, I don't need a mechanic to do it, I'll do it myself. All right, okay, grand, he says, drop it off. So I drop it off to him. It takes him all day to get to it, and it only takes him something like a half an hour, 45 minutes to fix it, if even that, okay? So eventually I get the alternator back, and I've got to refit it, and but by the time on Monday when I went and got it, because I had to price a few jobs as well, took the car instead. By the time I got the alternator back, the daylight had all but gone, and I didn't fancy, it's already dark underneath the van to try and get into all the little, get the alternator lined up. It's a very, very tight fit. And then, I didn't want to be in the cold, lying on the ground under the van in the dark. So it took me to Tuesday morning to get it all repaired and fixed up, which you saw me doing. So that was how the last couple of weeks started out, and so I still have a few issues to get done. The van went in for an MOT test, which for you guys in the States, that's like it's a yearly vehicle roadworthiness test we get. It's compulsory with all vehicles over 3 years old, and what it is just a money-making scheme per vehicle. Millions and millions of vehicles on the road each year, and each of them have to pay £30.50 for a test, and then if you fail, then you got to pay the retest, etc. It's just a money-making scheme. Anyway, so that's what I had to get done, and it failed, and so it needs the new caliper, which is a pain, like I said. After that, then needs a ball joint, and I need a cap for my thank you very much. I need a cap mount for my, sorry, it's gone from my head here. What it is it goes on top of the suspension mount. Anyway, cap's gone, so that needs to be replaced as well. So I've still got a bit of money to spend, unfortunately, which is, I tell tell you what, rips the heart out of me whenever I've got to spend a lot of money on the van, which is very, very rare. But any money to spend any time is, I think it hurts no matter who you are. Whether you've got loads of money or you don't have any money, it hurts all the same. So yeah, that's how that all worked out. But I'll get there in the end. It was very kind of challenging, let's say. And then I've been having these issues with my back. I've got a lot of trapped nerves that are causing some problems, where when I'm lying in bed at night, if I'm lying on my right hand side, my left hand will go numb. So this is all coming off the back of having chronic back pain and some issues with my back. And I've been dealing with it for the last couple of years, but it's been really getting to me this last week. I'd say last week, it's been getting to me for months, but this last week I've kind of been thinking, right, okay, do you know what, I need to see if there's something more to this, because it was progressing to the point now where on my left arm, if I bend my left arm like that now, for the last 3 days I've just been losing the strength in the arm with searing pain, and it's all down to do with a compressed nerve or a pinched nerve. And so I went and saw my GP this morning. I've been referred off for an MRI. We'll see how that goes, and depending on the results, they might not need to do some surgery, which is something I'm a little bit concerned about, but I don't think it's a massive procedure. It is like you're in and out in a day, but I'm not sure what it's like with the recovery, because sorry, I'm trying to get into the right lane here through the city. Yeah, because what it is basically they either shave, depends on what's compressing the nerve. Is it bone, cartilage, or disc? You know, and depending on which one it is, they'll shave a bit off to create a bit of space. The best way to describe it is if you imagine holding a straw in your hand and you grip it tightly, not much would get through that straw, would it? And so that's the same thing with your nerves. Your nerves are kind of channels, and when it's compressed and closed up, the signals, you know, nothing can move freely the way it's supposed to. And so that creates a load of problems, and that's what I'm potentially looking at. So that's something I've got to deal with pretty soon. I've got to go for an MRI, so they're going to do that on my neck, because apparently this is where the potential is for all the compressed nerves that I'm getting, because I do seem to be, it's in my hands, it's in both hands. I'll lose, they'll go numb through the night. And if I can just readjust myself, well then that's fine. You know, it takes a few minutes, but the numbness does go away, which, you know, it's just added to the list of all the things that create a challenge in life, eh? But on that note, I do want to talk about how I find, no, I'm just getting into this space here. I do want to talk about how when I'm talking about different things that are a challenge in my life, I am no way, I'm in no way trying to reinforce the negativity. By putting it out there on video is to let it go. Admit that there's a problem. Admit that there's something that is a challenge for me. And it does two things, okay? It does two things. One, it helps me get it off my chest. It allows me to verbally and say it out loud, talk about something that is affecting me in whatever way. And off the back of that, off the back of admitting it, I'm able to have a better idea of what I'm dealing with. Because if you don't admit something, if you're facing a challenge and you choose to ignore it, the challenge continues, okay? So it's not that I'm focusing on moaning and complaining, oh boo-hoo, I've got this and I've got that. It just keeps me aware of what is the actual situation that I'm facing, whether it's to do with my back, whether it's to do with the condition of the business or the condition of my mindset or my perspective. And it helps me, like I say, by admitting it and putting it out there, it allows me to see what I'm saying and then to act on it, because I don't want to be one of these people who talk about the problems that they have and then continue to have the same problems by not doing anything about it. That's not what I'm looking to do. So by admitting it, I can have a look, readjust my thinking. Is there anything that I can do? Is there anything that I can change? Is there anything that will help? This is the issue. How do I solve the issue? And it might take a long time to get from here to here, but the fact that I'm able to acknowledge it is a positive thing. And so then that leads to the second point of why I put this out there on video, and that is to share with you. It's to share with you so that you know that you might be facing challenges of any kind. I can't guess what challenges you're facing, but by me sharing mine, some of them are going to be quite common out there for a lot of people to face. There's lots of people who face with depression. There's lots of people who are faced with financial difficulty or raising kids. You know, that's a tough job and all on its own. That's a lot of pressure to try and raise kids right these days. It could be physical health, it could be your business, it could be anything. I don't know. But by me sharing my problems and talking about them to you, lets you know that there's somebody else out there who faces the same things that you do, and that while from time to time I hold my hands up in all honesty, and I will admit that sometimes it gets too much for me, but that's not the end of the world, because I'll talk about this in much more detail in future videos. But all the things that we experience, all the experiences we go through in life are but a moment. And I don't mean it as in like a compiled, oh, we're only here for a limited amount of time. I'm not talking about that. What I mean is that the experiences we have are made up of little moments. And how do I know that? Well, you just stop and have a think of all the memories you've got. And no memory on its own lasts forever. Otherwise you wouldn't have all these different memories. So the experience you're going through right now is only a period of time. It is a moment in time. It might last a day, a week, a month, a couple of months, or a year, or even a couple of years at most. But it's only a moment. And so that's what I'm trying to do by talking about these things. And you will see the progress in my videos, where one moment one of my videos would be talking about how I had a difficult day or I had a difficult week, struggling with how I was feeling in myself. And then you will see me in another video talking about how good things are, and that things are looking up, they're positive. And so it's trying to reinforce a positive message. Although I might talk about some of the negative things, that's all that is. All that is acknowledging the reality of the situation. It's not focusing on it. It's not wallowing in self-pity, because wallowing in self-pity will get you nowhere. Nothing changes until you change it. Do you understand what that saying means? Is that if I sat there and wallowing in self-pity saying, oh, why, you know, it's like saying you've got a splinter in the thumb and you're complaining about it, saying, why do I have this splinter in the thumb? It's so sore, it's so irritating. And yet, if I do nothing about it, it continues as it is. And that is the situation. Whereas, acknowledge that the splinter is there. Fine, it hurts, talk about it. Fine, it really irritates you. It's okay to admit that. It's okay to admit that you got a splinter in your thumb. But the next step after all of that is to move forward by saying, right, get me a pair of tweezers. I think Look at that. I wasn't even planning this, but here's a pair of tweezers. Get the tweezers and take the splinter out. And there's your solution. It's acknowledging where the issues are in the first place and then kind of assessing what needs to be done. Do you have a pair of tweezers? No. Can you get a pair of tweezers? No. But what can you use? A sharp knife, a needle, etc., or even your teeth. So that's why I talk about some of the challenges that I face. It's in the desire. It comes from a purely good place of, one, it helps me, but two, hopefully it helps you as well. So I wanted to share that with you, just in case you wonder, well, why does John talk about, some of his troubles a little bit too much? Well, one, it seems like they're never ending on the first instance, but that's only a matter of perspective. Things will change as I make changes myself, and that's what I'm trying to do. So some of them have taken quite a while to get around to, but I know that, like I say, where your starting point is in acknowledging your problem and getting to doing something about it, at least you're on the right road. It might take a lot longer than you think. It might be a while. It might be shorter than you think. Either way, as long as you're on the right track, you're okay. You will be okay. I like a film called The Best Marigold Hotel, or Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, or something like that. I really liked it. There's a saying in it. He says, everything will be all right in the end. And if it is not all right, then it is not yet the end. I love that saying. So just bear that in mind, that everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end. It's not the end yet. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you. Going on 17 and a half minutes in this video. I'll share one more thing with you. I don't mind making this a little bit longer. One of the plans that I have for the business is to focus. I've changed my attitude, my focus, and how I'm going to market my business and how I'm going to try and grow the business. And so I have toyed with the idea for a while with renting some office space. I think it's a great idea, and the reason for that is because I'm a sole trader, okay, as are probably many of you guys, and so my business is run in my kind of spare time, if you want, where I'm out and about doing the work during the day. Those are my work hours, getting out there, doing the work and earning the money. But in order to keep the money coming in, I need to focus on, to some degree, which is a lot less, like I say, when you're working on your own, you spend a little bit of time administering the business compared to actually going out there and performing your technical craft and getting the money into your hand. I've decided to dedicate my Mondays to focusing on the business, and I'm going to do this in two ways. I'm going to try and grow the business in January or February. This is when I'm hoping to start. I'm going to focus on two key ways. The first and foremost is I need a new website. My old website is it's old-fashioned and outdated, and it's totally irrelevant when it comes to Google listings at the moment, or positioning it on page 1 of Google. So it's an old-fashioned one. End of the discussion on that one. So I'm going to get a new website made, and there's a lot of things that I'm considering with it, and this is going to be the premise, the kind of the center hub of everything for the business. Online has got to be the new focus. Now, I'm not saying anything new. I'm not saying anything profound or deep meaning that nobody has thought of. Everybody is way ahead of the game on me, compared to me on this. But here in Ireland, it's a little bit slower on the pickup on the trend. And so, especially when it comes to sole traders, we're definitely, down there compared to big companies who've got dedicated work teams, marketers, promotional ads, all that kind of money that they can invest in the business. So I'm going to get a new website made. A couple of things that are going to go alongside it is an SEO package, that the web developers are working with, according to my direction, because what I'm trying to, they know what I want to do. I've only got so much money that I can invest in it. So for 6 months they're running an SEO campaign for me, not your conventional one to try and pay the SEO to get you up there with Google AdWords or whatever, or pay per clicks. I'm not sure fully of the technical aspect of it, but one, there's going to be a blog created that, as far as I know, it's going to be external to the website. I'm going to be working on my social media, marketing the business from social media, engaging in the public a lot more, and by creating the time on Mondays to be able to do that, I can actually, I'm not too worried. If I was to do it now, I don't have the time or the focus to be able to commit to that kind of a strategy right this very minute, but I will in the next couple of months, and I'll get to that in a second, how I'm going to do that. So I'll be working on the social media aspect of things, engaging with the public, engaging with local businesses, etc., and promoting other posts and stuff like that, as well as my own business. Just a quick tip on that, what I found, which I'll probably discuss in another video, is for every 5 posts you put out there on social media, from your business social media, only 1 should be about your business. The other 4 should be about whatever is fun and going around and whatever's trending and appealing that people will want to engage in, so as that you catch their attention with something that is fun and light-hearted or whatever the case may be. And then on the 5th, on your 5th post, then you're posting something about your business. You've already got their attention. Say, yes, John Ryan Property Services, they post really funny and fun, light-hearted posts on their Twitter account or on their Facebook or whatever. And then of course you send out the one about your business, and well, you've got their attention because you're already putting good content out there, and so then they remember that. Now, it might not be necessarily appealing to them right there and then, but they will remember. They'll retain that information subconsciously. So I'll be focusing on that aspect of things, and all creating backlink channels to my website. Off the back then of the website, I'll also be creating an email marketing campaign, where I'm working closely with the local council. They're compiling a list of companies and businesses and names, phone numbers and email addresses, ideally of the managers or the owners of these businesses, to focus on trying to create opportunities, whether it's just sending them the email flyer. So I'll be getting e-shots, creating digital flyers, etc., for promotional purposes with the business, offers, services, whatever the case may be, to try and target these. But I'll be doing it by both on the phone and emailing, so that it's not just a case of, oh yes, John said he was sending me through an email, and they'll look at it, rather than a case of, who's this John, and why is he sending me an email? And you look at it and they say, oh, it's rubbish. Try and work hand in hand with both verbally speaking with people, trying to make appointments to speak with them in person, and then sending them through either, email marketing, flyers, etc., and then follow-up appointments or follow-up phone calls, and really going to go to town on this list. And then not only are they doing that, but they're also compiling a list of Belfast City businesses, which is a lot more, which is a much more, there's plenty of information there to be following for the next year or 2 years, depending on how much time I spend on a Monday per client, per potential customer, per lead, whatever the case may be. So there's plenty of opportunities in that, as well as any new customers that I get. I already get their mobile phone number, I've got their address and their details, and then I'm going to be compiling a list of all their email addresses as well, existing customers as well, so that they can be kept up to date through text message, promotional ads or whatever promotions or offers for the month. One of the things that I'm going to be doing is recommend a friend and get a free window clean. you know, in this part of the world, window cleaning is so regular that with all my customers, you know, terms and conditions apply depending on what size of business or what size of house it is. But in order to try and grow the domestic side or residential side, promote that if they recommend a friend, they will get a free carpet clean or free window clean, etc, etc. You get the idea. I'm going to be pushing it along that line, that they get something in return. So there's quite a lot going to be happening, and how I'm going to do all this from the van, I'm not. I was considering buying an office or renting an office. Buying an office would have been one hell of an expense. I'm going to be buying a garden office, garden studio. Basically it comes as a building shell, and then it gets converted into an office with insulation and electrical points, heating, lighting, all that, and plastering. And that's where I'm going to spend my Mondays, is by dedicating Mondays just purely to focusing on the computer side, the business side, the online side, and the marketing of the business, as well as setting out the strategy for the week, how I'm going to get from job to job. I can just get a little bit more efficient with a lot of things. But Mondays are now dedicated to working from home, in a dedicated workspace where I'm not in the house with kids running around screaming, looking for this, that, or the other. Daddy, he took this. Daddy, he's looking at me. Or whatever the case may be. Kids come out with the stupidest things sometimes. You know, Daddy, he's looking at me. Well, what do you think he has eyes for? Love. Do you know what I mean? So I can't really be taking phone calls or making phone calls if I've got that going on in the background. So I need the calmness and the quiet space to be able to focus on that. And the plus side out of all of that is that I can focus on putting something out there for YouTube. My YouTube videos can go out on Mondays. So that's my plans with the business. That's what I've been going through a little bit through the last couple of weeks. Thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch me and listen to me. And I look forward to seeing your comments in the section below. But whatever the case may be, I hope that things are going well for you as well. I hope that things will look up, or are looking up, or you're having a good time, you're enjoying your business, you're enjoying different aspects of life. There's plenty that we can get trodden down with and beat up about and feel sorry for ourselves, and rightfully so. There is a certain element, or there's a certain allowance for feeling sorry for yourself. I completely understand that. It's just hopefully you'll be able to pick yourself up pretty soon and things will change, and make things change if you can. Okay, so thanks very much for listening to me waffling on, and like I said, I hope the very best for you, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks very much.